I keep calling the game the wrong name, I'm really sorry, enjoy the video.
Oh shit. Come on! Come on!
Before writing any of this, I took it upon myself to look at nothing of this game pre and post launch. Gaming journalism in any form worms its way into anyone's opinion, including mine. For example, I used to think The Last of Us Part 2 was masterclass in storytelling. Think for yourself and you may actually have something interesting to say. It's easier to regurgitate someone else's thoughts than to come up with something even mildly interesting. Glenn Schofield, for argument's sake, made one of the best Resident Evil 4 clones on the Xbox 360 called Dead Space. That's a joke, and I absolutely love that game, and when he had announced his departure from Sledgehammer Games, started up a new studio, which is a subsidiary of the dudes that made PUBG, I was interested in what was next. Little did I know this is the direction his new studio, Striking Distance, would go. Originally stated as canon to the PUBG universe, Callisto Protocol dropped a teaser trailer at the end of 2020 before going quiet. And that's as far as I got. I didn't need anything else. I went in with half an eye open and ready for whatever Mr. Schofield had for me. So to skip over me being any more pretentious any longer, here's why the Callisto Protocol is my game of the year. Off the bat, we are presented with a world that doesn't care if we know about its backgrounds, characters, or lore. It takes an enjoy the ride approach that works perfectly in tandem with what the story wants to get across. Themes of redemption and righting your wrongs. Jacob, the protagonist, is presented as wrong place, wrong time to begin with, and seems pretty surface level, but the game's character building isn't in your face and asks you to think about things like your girlfriend does after a 3-day bender.
Lethal force has been authorized.
Underlining subtext versus what's easily readable within the bounds of storytelling works so perfectly, I was shocked. Not because of how it ended, but what it meant for Jacob and his evolution as a character. Not everyone will take this away because of its subtlety, but I just think I'm retarded and enjoyed the game far more than I should have. Moving over into what mattered and what I spent 18 to 25 hours depending on how slow you'd play, the gameplay. Fast but slow. Ultra-violence of extreme proportion is exacted on your foes. Dodging is not iframes, move as you see fit. This is extremely refreshing. The game is difficult and doesn't rely on the Soulsborne formula to generate the feeling of superficial difficulty. At the start of the game, enemies feel extremely overpowering and frightening to face, and by the end I was ready to face anything, not because I was overpowered, but I had a good grasp of what was required of me as a player. There is time between combat. I use time as downtime is not the right word. Tension is built beautifully, and soundtracks boast powerful strings, synths of epic proportion, bangs that I thought shook my headphones. Masterclass sound design is here, along with lighting that made every environment ultimately more terrifying upon closer inspection. The Callisto Protocol is violence projected on every sense but smell, as my PS5 dual controller would shake and snap in the utmost perfect moments. Striking Distance cares about every moment on screen, even as sometimes it felt slightly cliche.
Whoa!
Everything I had just stated is moment to moment. Overarching is something called the biophage, which does some pretty horrendous things to the prisoners of Black Iron. Not only the prisoners, but the game itself actually goes to some pretty extreme places with its horror themes, which I won't spoil, and if I were to make reference to, you would write the game off completely. But that aside, the graphic nature of the violence doesn't feel random and fits with what the game world has presented. This game is fucking grim and I'm all for it. It doesn't hold anything back and I'm very happy about that. This is the first game for a long time which I got what I signed up for.
Too close.
Outside of exploration and the combat, the only intelligent thing is to give the game a reason for players to do both those things, a currency system, which can be used on an array of upgradable 3D printed weapons. With an arsenal at your disposal, the devs don't ask you to swing and shoot violently. Timing is key here. Dodging and slapping something perfectly leaves enemy combatants open to a snap lock-on attack from your equipped firearm, and this is extremely satisfying if the side weapon happens to be a futuristic sawn-off shotgun. Careful when firing as you want to hit the tentacles within a short window, otherwise the big fuck-off scary monster gets even bigger and more fucked off. Every level feels extremely different from the last, and I can happily say that some of the things Striking Distance has built will go on my top moments in horror video games, exploring the outside of the prison and the abandoned colony in which the prison was built on. Makes me wish I could play it again for the first time. That is extremely few and far between for most games these days.
What the f...
Hopefully from what I have discussed and shown my passion for the game that was created here, and even though there are a few things here I wish they could have ironed out, like joining the levels together or using sections as blatant loading screens, I still love this game, and it easily sits next to Elden Ring for the game of 2022. Do I recommend Callisto Protocol? Well, like the juicy red mist that you'll see most of the game, it passes all scores with flying colors. I highly recommend this game.